Thank you, Elizabeth. I am so excited to be here tonight. Before I introduce Mr. Strube, I would like you all to turn to the screen for a brief video.
If you want paint that's developed in Florida for the Florida climate, go to Color Wheel. The Strubes have every color you can imagine. Donald Strube is a Midwesterner who moved to Florida looking for better weather. Along with his brother Charlie, Don started Color Wheel, mixing paint out of one 55-gallon drum. Dr. Bill Brown is an attitude survey consultant for some of the largest companies in Central Florida.
One employee said to me, "This guy started with a 55-gallon drum and an idea. And look at what's happened since then." And he's done everything. He's mixed paint, he's built the organization, he's sold paint, he's done everything. They were opening a store and were a little bit behind in the schedule, and the county inspector said, "You'll never open tomorrow." And Don Strube said, "We'll do it tomorrow, no questions asked." And 10 o'clock at night, here is the president and chief executive officer planting sod. When I hear these employees say, we have a set of standards and we don't cut corners and we give them the best. And when you have customers that come back 15, 20, 25 years, that's the mark of success.
Color Wheel is the largest privately held paint manufacturer based in Florida. It produces more than 5 million gallons of product per year. But Don Strube never really focuses on money. Financial rewards just happen to be a byproduct of success.
Don Strube has been a friend of mine for over 40 years, and we've had a lot of fun times together. I think one of the things I admire most about him is his sense of humor. I remember when I started building a house out in Windermere, he offered to sell me some paint, and he actually delivered it himself out of the back of his car. And I then looked at the bucket of paint that he'd brought, and I noticed there weren't any labels on it. And I said, "Don, how come there aren't any labels on this thing for Color Wheel?" And he says, "Because I hate licking the glue on those stickers that go on these buckets." Don is very, very loyal to his family and to his employees. They love him. They know he's going to be fair. You know where you stand with him, and you know he's going to be your friend.
Don Strube has always been a team player, whether it was as a scout or on a baseball team or in the Air Force, where he served as a first lieutenant. Even today, it's all about working together, like building a Little League baseball field in Windermere. And when the house in the Bahamas needed a seawall, the teamwork became a family project, hand-mixing concrete for the 100-foot wall.
Dad's one of those kind of guys that he has to do things in a big way. When he decides that he wants to get a project done, number one, it's always better to do it yourself if you want it done right. And usually if they're big projects, he decides that they're going to be family projects.
A humorous time was one of our motorhome trips out west. We had 2 weeks to go see the West Coast, but he wanted to stop by San Diego and see a friend and said we had to hustle out there. And hustle out there meant do the 2,600-mile drive in 2.5 days. We were driving the motorhome, and Don was 15, I was 12 at the time, and we were driving through. It was at night, and the family was back sleeping. And we both had cigars in our mouth going through the toll plaza, and the toll plaza lady just did a double take, you know, and it was pretty funny. But Mom didn't care too much for that, but Dad's like, "I'll let them. They're fine. What can happen with a 15-year-old driving a family of 7 around, you know?" So.
If you were to ask Dad what the secret is to being successful in business, he's going to tell you that you can't be afraid of working hard. You have to pick yourself up off the ground when you get knocked down. And most importantly, you always do what's right and do things with the highest level of integrity and honesty. He's really a tender-hearted person.
Don Strube is a regular guy. He's driven yet selfless. He's kind and humble. Don Strube would say, becoming successful does not mean you cannot always be yourself.
Talk about a colorful guy. Let me just tell you a few things about one of this year's Hall of Famers, Mr. Donald K. Strube Sr. Mr. Strube has owned his own company for 45 years. His brother Charlie actually helped him discover this color wheel, if you will. He did not dream of having his own company. Back then, he was just happy to own his own bicycle. Now, Color Wheel has exactly 380 employees. I never thought that anyone would ever have that many employees. Mr. Strube loves working with different kinds of people. He started with just 2 employees, and when I interviewed him, he just came from a meeting with at least 12 employees. He said he loves his job, and I believe that so much. One of Mr. Strube's favorite parts of his job is watching his employees grow professionally with the company. Production and chemistry is another favorite because he gets to formulate. And this is something he had to learn completely on his own, but I think he enjoys every part of his job. Mr. Strube is married to a wonderful wife and loves his 4 sons and his 1 daughter very much. They're all grown up now, and he has an even bigger family with his in-laws. 9 beautiful granddaughters and 1 handsome grandson, and he loves spending time with all of them. Has Mr. Strube always given back to his community? Yes, he has. All the time. It always makes him feel good when he gives back to his community. At one point, he helped start our Windermere Little League. He has also helped build a school in the Bahamas for handicapped children. And like he says, everyone needs paint. Even though he does not have a special slogan or motto, he tells people, do it better tomorrow than today. I told him my favorite pet was a dog. He said, oh yeah, I love pets. The last 2 were my kids' dogs, a golden lab and a golden retriever. He has had horses, chickens, and even a pig. Then, since he owns his own paint company, I asked him what his favorite color was. Of course, he said it was blue. Blue is the color of the ocean, and Mr. Strube loves the ocean. He also loves food, but fresh fish caught off his boat is his most favorite. Then I asked him what the best lesson he learned in his life was. At first, he joked that he is so old that he does not remember what he had for breakfast. But then he said he was telling his wife the lesson he has always learned, and what is so important in business is hearing all 3 sides of every story and really listening. Of course, my favorite sport is soccer, but Mr. Strube has had lots of favorite sports: water ski jumping, golf, fishing, and many others. Mr. Strube looks up to his children, who are now adults, and to his family. You can tell by talking to him that his family always comes first. But as he told me, you will look up to different people at different times in your life. After interviewing Mr. Strube, I sure do look up to him. Now, I would like to introduce you all to my new friend, who has always given back to his community, and this year's Mid-Florida Business Hall of Fame laureate, Mr. Donald K. Strube Sr.
Sure, okay. Thank you, dear.
She'll hold this for you until the end.
Okay, thank you, dear. You're sweet. Adelia's tough to follow, but she did a great job, and let's recognize Adelia a little bit. Now it's time to get serious a little bit. Adelia is just amazing. The kids of junior achievement, the poise and the skill that they show at the early age. I'm trying to remember if Adelia is 8 or 9. I can't remember, but all I remember is my dad telling people that I was 12 years old before I learned how to wave bye-bye. I'd like to thank the good people at Junior Achievement for including me in the program this evening. It's an honor and greatly appreciated. I really enjoyed the film, watching that, especially hearing all the good things, until I remembered when my son and Judge Pleiss, Ricky and Donnie came back and kind of kidding him, I said, I just hope that you didn't lay it on too thick. And I think it was the judge said, I just hope we don't get indicted for perjury. But I guess Color Wheel is kind of a, I wouldn't say an inspiration, but for the young people, it kind of shows what in our great country, in our free enterprise system, you can start. We started, my brother and I, with $15,000, didn't know anything about making paint, and somebody said, you obviously had more guts than brains, which is probably true. And it was a great experience for our kids that got to work there. I have 5, he has 4, all 9 of them worked there through grade school, through college. I thought that it would be a good experience and they'd learn a lot. I quit asking them the last one I asked, what did you learn working at Color Wheel? And they said they thought that Florida needed to re-examine their children's working laws. But our company, the real growth's been in the last 15 years since the next generation took over the company. We went from 15 million to 90 million in the period when they were running the company, which was led by our kids, my nephew, Steve, my sons, Don Jr. and Ricky, and 2 of the old Color Wheel guys, Fred Stewart and Scott Seward. I really wanted to adopt them so they could be part of the family, but they were afraid they'd have to take a cut in pay. I'd also, of course, like to give credit to my CEO, who happens to be the love of my life and my sweetheart, my wife, for the last 48 years, who's sitting back there, and without her, none of it would have really happened. She's sitting back there with our She's with our 4 sons and our beautiful daughter-in-laws and 2 of our 10 grandchildren. They're the 2 oldest ones. I guess you'd call them hotsies now. They're young ladies. Not, maybe I don't know. I'm a little obsolete, but I think that fits. And I have a daughter also lives in California. Her family, they're going to be here for Christmas. But I see back there one of the families giving me this, which means get it moving or the hook is coming up here next. So I'll end this saying it's been a great life. We've been very blessed with the family, with the company. I think we took the paint business very seriously, but not ourselves. I'm just so happy at 75 to still be hanging around Color Wheel, and I'm going to continue to hang around there. In fact, I saw a quotation in the Sentinel this morning, which is true, that I plan to hang around Color Wheel as long as my kids give me love and respect, and I'm pretty sure they're going to give me love and respect as long as I have my voting stock. Thank you.
Congratulations, Don.
Our final honoree this evening is Mr. Joe E. Wigington, and tonight we have Bailey DeCreasy, an 8th grader at Lakeview Middle School, to present this award.
Ladies and gentlemen,